Well, time to throw my hat in the ring. Hi, I'm Kenny Monk, and I'm here to talk to you about Disenchantment. Or more specifically, its main mystery, the prophecy.
There's a prophecy to be fulfilled, our fame and fortune to be restored, a debt to hell that we're really overdue on.
Now, it's common for shows to have long-running mysteries. Gravity Falls had the author. Steven Universe was all about who really killed Pink Diamond. Disenchantment has several. Who's really Alpha's mother? What does Alpha really want with Dreamland? That doesn't top the show's biggest mystery, the prophecy.
All the way down to your destiny.
In the third act of part 1, we get some hints being as, for all intents and purposes, the chosen one.
It's you, prophecy girl.
Despite not being around civilization for decades, Malthus somehow knows who she is.
I know all about you, Tia Beanie.
But I didn't tell you my name.
Well, it's a long story.
It's why Cloyd and Becky sent Lucy to corrupt Bean.
Yes, our emissary will steer her towards the darkness.
Even Sven the Viking sent something.
Your snowy hair and stormy breath remind me of my homeland.
Dagmar tells Zog there's things beyond his understanding.
This goes way beyond you and me, dear. It is a dark battle of 100 centuries and our daughter's destiny.
She tells Bean she's somehow special.
The thing about your father, Tia Beanie, is that he wants to change you. I want you as you were born to be.
What was I born to be?
Then comes part 2. Dagmar spirits Bean away to Maru, and during her time there, Bean explores the kingdom and realizes some interesting things. The Maru people, or at least the residents of the Crone Zone, view her as some kind of a messiah who will save Maru. It's to the point where an old lady kisses Bean's feet.
Save Maru, Tia Beanie. Save Maru.
Ah, get away from me! Ow!
There's portraits of her, and severed arms in a prophecy fulfillment center. And just to be off topic for a second, I really like being in that dress. I hope we see it at some point. I know, we probably won't, but the ensemble just completes her. We also learned something super important. There's Maruvian family madness. Unlike the Grunkwitz side of the family, I don't think they were cursed. It's probably something more rational. We see all the royal portraits have the same crown, which will be important later on. I don't know if it was an artistic choice, like when artists would add halos, but I think it's kind of telling.
Jerry, we already tried this with you once and it turned you into a permanent 10-year-old.
Finally, Bean confesses to Dagmar, who tells her that yes, there is a prophecy, and Bean is at the head of it. It involves screwing said crown into Bean's skull, and possibly other things.
There's a prophecy to be fulfilled, our fame and fortune to be restored, a debt to hell that we're really overdue on.
A big point about the season premiere is they never actually say what this prophecy entails, besides the crown. No big whoop, you got a whole season to do it. Although, if you watch my other videos or you watch the rest of the show, you know they never actually do. I suppose there's hints here and there, but we never get a good grasp on what exactly this whole procedure entails.
If she can bear the crown, our destiny is secure.
Now put on the crown and together we will make our wildest dreams come true. All the way down to your destiny.
Question, do you want to know how to do a long-running mystery without ever answering it? Copy what Disenchantment does. Say what you want about Elfo's mom. At least they've dropped some actual hints as to who she might be. The prophecy, it's all super vague and it never really ties together. Even in moments where they could say what the prophecy is, they never actually do. When Dagmar comes back from the explosion, she never says what it is that's motivating her, thus far to turn an entire kingdom to stone, lie to her daughter, and kill her own brother and her own parents. And it's not me making things up. Dagmar says she killed Bean's grandparents.
I killed my own parents when I was your age.
What about in the basement? Dagmar can't say what's gonna happen? A big reason Bean rebelled was because they lied to her the whole episode.
Come now, we've a crown to screw to your head.
You screwed with my head enough!
Maybe if you were actually super honest and not super duper vague, she would be a little more reassured. Even in part 3 when they reference the prophecy, they never actually say what it is. In fact, because they focus so much on Steamland, part 3 has almost nothing to do with the prophecy. The Trogs think Bean is their savior because of her buck teeth, but the show never makes the point if the Trog prophecy is the Maru prophecy. It's nice they're trying to expand on Dreamland's world, but they also need to answer some of the questions they've established. A way other prophecies do this is by giving verbal hints. In Game of Thrones, the prince that was promised is born amid salt and smoke. They do this because not only will it keep you guessing, and it's easier to fill in the blanks, but it can provide great character development. Imagine if in Disenchantment, the prophecy foretold of being the Antichrist, and Bean had to struggle with that revelation.
Oh my god, I've killed a lot of people. What if I'm insane? Am I a bad person? I'm so sorry, Mom.
We never get that with this prophecy. Let me explain why this is such a bad idea. A big criticism many people find with the show is they tend to cheat on certain topics by saying something happened despite evidence to the contrary. It's kind of typical in Futurama or The Simpsons, but you can't really get away with that in what's supposed to be a serialized epic, where every detail and joke is supposed to matter in the long run. And when it comes to characters and plots, they tend to be very flip-floppy. Throughout the show, Derek is a 5-year-old in a teen's body, but by the end of season 3, he's become the writer's mouthpiece. And if you watch Modern Simpsons or Comedy Central Futurama, you know how the writers get when it comes to political topics.
And a socialist utopia shall be established that will...
Despite the fact he's spoiled and kept in his room all day under constant guard in a medieval world. And regardless of your thoughts on socialism, how would Derek even know what it is, let alone if it could even lead to a utopia? Because we never actually know what the prophecy is, it's easy to make your own interpretation. But once the show answers that question, it could ultimately prove to be infuriating. A big theme of the show is Bean trying to take control of her own autonomy. She wants to forge her own destiny and her own path. Her rejecting the Bentwood brothers was one such reason. We, and her, both knew if she was married, she'd be trapped in a loveless marriage, and to a literal pig no less. Sucks Dreamland won't have the money, but we can still see why Bean wanted to go against her dad. You can't say it's a good thing that Bean's rejecting this destiny if you never actually tell us what Dagmar wants to do to her. I know the show implies something diabolical will happen, but because we don't have enough info, we don't know how to really answer that. Now, indulge me for a moment. Imagine if the prophecy would bring total world peace, and Bean rejected it. No more starving people, no more sick people, no more wars. And Bean knew this and did nothing but shoot the bird and go to a pub. Yeah, it might seem far-fetched, but think about it. We don't know that much about Maru. For all we know, maybe they are good guys who just happen to use dark magic. Would Bean be fine rejecting her destiny, which could help millions of people, just because she's too much of a coward to get a crown drilled into her skull? Selfish much, Bean? Not only that, but Being Big sucks considering the genre. Fantasy shows tend to be very lore heavy. Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings can fill up literal books with the amount of lore they spew. Disenchantment, it's mostly only mentioned once, where you have to come to your own conclusions. It wouldn't be an issue if the show was meant to be episodic like Crossing Swords, but Disenchantment is still story-driven. You can't afford to be vague in a story-driven show. Now, why exactly do they never hint or say what the prophecy entails? I could say it's because they make things up as they go along, but I think there's another issue at play. I think a reason this vagueness persists is the characters never really ask questions, or if they do, they just get shrugged off. Bean never really questions why she has electric powers. Nobody questions what's coming out of Bean's fingers. She never tries to harness it.
Got me again.
Man, she's got that abandoning you thing down.
You never get an episode of, say, her going to Sorcerio and looking for a book on why she has them. And considering how much somebody like Oddval knows about secret conspiracies, it's weird it never comes up if he even knows what it is. You'd think he'd want to make Bean, who's supposed to be the chosen one, his puppet, not Derek. Incorrigible or not, Bean is basically the Avatar. A question I get asked is what I think the prophecy is. And until now, I haven't made a video on it for two reasons. One, I never enjoy making theory videos. Once the episode comes out, there's a big chance I'm wrong and my video will end up being super dated. Besides, there's a lot of other reviewers who do Disenchantment theories, like Johnny Two Cellos or The Fangirl. I just like to analyze and discuss topics and characters. Two, like I said, I never really understood what the prophecy was. If I had to guess, considering what we've seen thus far, I think the prophecy is kind of like the dragon flame from Winx Club, where whoever possesses it is the most powerful magic user. From Dagmar's wording, I think it's supposed to be limitless. The user won't have to resort to card tricks or potions. I don't think the prophecy will pay back the debt to Hell or restore Maru, but it will give the Chosen One the power and authority to do those things and to run Maru. Another topic I get asked is, who do you think Bean is gonna have to marry? Again, honestly, I don't know. Everybody says it's Alva, but I've heard lots of speculation. There's Pendergast, or the Devil, or Giesbert, or the Son of the Devil. Personally, I go with Pendergast, but I doubt it's gonna be him. I mean, come on, he wasn't a nice person in life. He does what his liege says, and he had a crush on Bean. If he was told to marry Bean, he would. Still, I don't think Bean is gonna end up marrying anyone, considering how the show can be with cliffhangers. If something happens, it'll be a super short marriage. However, I think the wedding has nothing to do with the prophecy. It's just Dagmar's way of paying back the debt to Hel. If Bean won't fulfill the prophecy, Dag can easily cross another problem off her list. Besides, the prophecy would come after. Hopefully, part 4 answers everything, and honestly, I hope we see Bean in that prophecy garb. I know what I said, but I love fantasy gowns. If there isn't any fan art of it yet, can somebody please make it happen?
Wow, the teeth really seem to follow you around the room.